I'm just gonna keep things short, sweet, and as simple as they possibly can be. We are currently witnessing the worst, and hands down, and I want to say, hands down in a way, the worst season of Cobra Kai yet. And before anybody before anybody complains, oh, why is he complaining again? Why is he, why, I just want to let you know before you go off and whine in the comments and whine to any of my social media. I just want to say this. I am one of the most optimistic viewers out there. When I go into something, it is because of the hype that I hear from it, and it is because of how good a certain show is. Like I'm just getting, I'm literally on the second to last episode of Better Call Saul right now, and not only is my reasoning for watching Better Call Saul because I watch Breaking Bad, so I might as well go into like the quote unquote prequel of the show, but it's because of how hyped up and how good that show is. You know, like I went in to Solo Leveling, which is I'm not gonna lie to you, it's good. It's just a little bit underwhelming from what I thought it was gonna be, and I'm only on episode 6, so I don't really I can't really talk on the full vision of the show, but basically I got into that show too because I've heard a lot of people say like, oh man, this is great, this is good, and so how do you think I seen Cobra Kai? And what's funny enough is the fact that I got into Cobra Kai before I ever seen Karate Kid. I've seen clips of Karate Kid, but I never seen the whole story and the whole movie of what started everything. So I just want to say that again, being the optimistic viewer that I am, being like bro, like I'm one of the biggest Cobra Kai fans out there. Now I don't buy all the merchandise, all the shirts. I don't know all the quotes. But one thing that I will tell you is that I constantly rewatch certain things about the show. I constantly rewatch certain things about every season to really get and understand the meaning of every single season from my own perspective. And basically what I'm trying to say is that I love this show and everything that it stand or stood for previously. This season so far, I will say, and I sounded a little optimistic in the part 1 review. And that first part was, much more deflating than any stretch of the show that we've, seen so far up until that point. But now I feel like for me, and I feel like for a lot of people, we can easily say that this is the most disappointing, most deflating, like easily the worst part of Cobra Kai. And that pains me to say because Cobra Kai is one of my favorite shows ever. I love Cobra Kai. I I can't remember the last show where I love where it's such a perfect mix of fighting, character development, lessons, persuading into real life, the perfect music, the perfect soundtrack, the perfect acting, the perfect moments, long-term storytelling from season 1 to season 5 built in with different characters, like I don't know. I don't know. I don't. And people are. I can understand people. Some people enjoying this. I can completely understand that. But if I have to give my thoughts, if I had to give a rating of how I would rate my part, matching it with my thoughts, I can't give any episode from this season a not. I can't give any episode from this season like a 9 out of 10. Any episode, and that's surprising considering that I'd at least give like a good 3 for each season, like at least 9s or 10s, like in that range for like an episode. Like at least it would at least be 3, but Jesus Christ, man, like, bruh, what what's happening? Like this whole season so far just it feels like a mess. And I feel like that's just due to partly because, and look, I'm all for shows continuing, for certain things to really get concluded. But outside of Kenny's development, I can't really understand, or not only that, but Kenny's development and some other characters getting screen time too. I just don't fully understand why they would really make this season. This whole season feels like a mess. Like, for any of you that have watched The Flash, and you watch one of the later seasons in the show, like I'd say like something after like The Flash season 2, you would watch that episode and you'd come to the realization, whether if it was in season 3, season 4, or just, well, season 3 was pretty good. Season 3 was pretty underrated, but I can understand why people don't like that season. But you go and you watch like an episode from maybe, season 4, season 5, and season 6 or whatever, and you just think to yourself like, man, why hasn't this show ended yet? Like, and that's exactly how I feel. No. Like with Game of Thrones season 8. Like, why the fuck is this show still going on? And I feel that exact way with Cobra Kai season 6 right now. Like, I don't get it. I don't. Like, there's some things that now, it's not an overly bad season. It's just, I'm just incredibly disappointed with the show right now. I am. And I honestly feel like that has to do with some of the deflating things about the season, and I will definitely go over that right now. Um, Now I'll go over the good as much as I can remember right now because I like to base things off of my memory. And so I just got done. I just got done finishing, this part of the show or this part of the season like earlier this morning before I had to go into work because I wake up around 3 or 4 a.m., etc., etc. So I have some time before I have to go into work a little later. And I have to go to work, like 3 to 4 hours later. So basically, I had time to watch the show and kind of digest the show, especially since every episode was like 30 to 40 minutes and I had the time and I could just easily click the next episode. So, okay, the positive. Going into this part, one of the things I was looking forward to was the Eli Dimitri stuff. And honestly, the bantering between them back and forth, God, excuse me, back and forth, like in the first episode or two, like, well, not only that, like the banter between them in like the first episode, the second episode, and the third episode was honestly one of my favorite things throughout the entire show. To be honest, well, not the entire show, but the entire season so far. And I was honestly looking forward to what they would do with Eli and Dimitri heading into this part. Lo and behold, like they just squash everything with just a hug. Like, we don't get no grand back and forth between the two. We don't get, a fight to really conclude and express the emotions that both of them were feeling. Like, bruh, this is Cobra Kai, and granted, it's not a heavily, the show isn't just construed just based off the fighting, but most of the conflicts get resolved not because of the words, but because of the fighting, but because of the actions. And the fighting definitely helps that. Like, for example, Sam and Tori wouldn't have never gotten along if they hadn't really fought for so long to really getting to know each other, not just physically, but mentally too. Sam getting a glimpse of Tori's life and Tori starting to calm down and really extend her hand out to get some help, because she's an angry child that has to struggle on her own. And basically, what I'm trying to say is, if you've seen Naruto, Sasuke once told Naruto in their first fight that a shinobi can communicate with each other through fist. And that's exactly what I kind of took away from Cobra Kai and the fights that they have. Now, again, the fights are kind of few and far in between every now and then, but the show has a perfect balance between the dialogue and the fights and the actions. And I really think like if Hawk and if Dimitri was to just fight it out and to just, like Hawk, he's about to punch Dimitri, but but instead of punching him while he's on the ground, obviously defeating Dimitri because he's obviously the more experienced fighter between the two and better fighter at that. He basically goes on and extends his hand and he apologizes for leaving Dimitri, but at the same time, Dimitri can grow and to apologize to Hawk as well because of excuse me, but because of his childish actions that he kept on doing throughout the past couple of episodes. And he could understand that, maybe MIT isn't for everybody. You want to go branch out, you want to go soar off and explore other, options in life, go explore, man. And again, like the speech that he had saying that, man, I'm really gonna miss you, man. I feel like that speech could have had a lot greater weight to it if we could have seen their struggle a bit more. But no, this season feels so goddamn rushed that we can't explore that, difference of characters. Like, what the like, bruh. Now, again, like, I'm going over the positives. I like how Sam and Tori aren't really angry at each other. I love how, in one of the few instances of common sense in this part, we finally show that Sam and Tori are actually cool with each other. Now, this may sound like I'm being a bit, that I'm expressing a little bit, too much exaggeration, but I'll go over what I mean by lack of common sense and lack of character development in just a second. But basically, I love how Sam isn't really against Tori. I love in the first episode that when Sam was going to instantly, I thought that Sam was mad at Tori, but instead she was upset that she couldn't stand by Tori's side. I like that because it shows Sam's character development in full flesh. I like that. I appreciate that. And that's, again, like one of the few signs in this show that we rarely see. Going character by character. God, this season felt like such a mess. It felt like such a goddamn mess. Like, they literally included everybody in there. They brought back Terry Silver. Now, granted, Terry coming back instantly, like, I can't lie to you. I fanboyed the fuck out when I seen Terry come back, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm over here laughing and clapping, bro, cause like Terry's my boy, bro. And then when you see this man, he has his arms around like the circle of the hot tub, and then he has the cigar in his mouth, and then he just looks at Chris and says, "Oh no! I think he says it to Danny boy. Life wouldn't be as exciting without a few surprises." And I was like, "Damn!" Like they had Terry pull up in the most perfect way possible. Like, dog. And again, like bro, like the entrance had me hooked. I'm not gonna lie. Like the return had me hooked. But then the more I see Terry throughout the seasons, like in the last two episodes, the more I just feel the weight of why is he here? Like, it's great to see Terry, and I can't wait to see how they use him moving forward, but to be completely honest with you, now, it it really jumbles things up. Now, honestly, I probably wouldn't have had Kreese be a villain at all. To be honest with you, like both Terry and Kreese, I feel like they don't hold the same weight as villains as they did in the first 5 seasons. And seeing them both at being villains again, and being antagonists basically, it really hits me of the complaints of people saying that this show should have ended in season 5, and seeing how just unexcited I am now, cause I'm just over here laying on my couch, head down, like we've seen this before, it does, Kreese's manipulation doesn't hold the same weight of him manipulating certain characters like he did with Tori, like he did with Robbie, like he did with Johnny in season 2, like he even did with Hawk for seasons 2 and 3. His manipulation, it feels so overdone, and it feels overdone completely. It doesn't have the same special feeling like it did, when he did it, like I said, with other characters that he did in Cobra Kai. And I like how when he eventually got arrested, you can see that he was starting to lose his powers. Like, he wasn't really able to manipulate Terry, and that in and of itself is what made Terry, a great, terrifying villain. The fact that Kreese's manipulation, it did the opposite. It made Silver turn against Kreese, and I'm just rambling on and on. But basically, Kreese's antics, they aren't the same like they were. I love Terry, but I love Kreese too. But it doesn't hold up. The actors are great though at what they do. The acting in this show is top notch. I mean, I can't, come on, bro. The acting is the best that it can be. Um what else, man? Terry and Kreese don't feel the same. The Eli Dimitri storyline, I feel like, is kind of tainted now. That could have been something that could have been greatly explored, but of course, we gotta rush everything now. Um, I'm trying to think of something good. Let me look at the wallpaper here. What else was good? Tori's reasoning for being with Kreese, I thought, was a good one, and it makes sense considering the the position she was in. I was trying to think of the word, but it makes sense considering the position that she was in, and I like the fact that Johnny told Miguel, Robbie, he's not gonna be going to college this year. The Sekai Taikai is all that he has. And you can say the same thing about Tori. Tori's not going to go to college next year because of who she is and her record, possibly. And that not really being for her. But, the Sekai Taikai, it's all some people have, like Robbie and Tori, for example. So, unlike, certain characters like Miguel and Sam, Robbie and Tori, they have to find other avenues, and that main avenue really being the benefits of the Sekai Taikai and them really getting their name out there and being broadcasted around the world. Um, the Chosen, what's her name? The Kim and Chosen relationship. I mean, the actors play it off well. I thought the kissing was cringingly funny when I first saw it. But and I didn't like it when I first saw them kiss, and I thought that they just kind of shoehorned this couple in here. But I mean, to be honest, it'd be nice to see a lighter side for Kim. I believe that's her name. If not, I'm thinking of Kim Wexler from Better Call Saul. Again, I apologize. But yeah, man. But yeah, the relationship feels shoehorned in, but I'll allow it because Cobra Kai from time to time can be a bit quirky and be a bit it could be a bit quirky from time to time, and it could, have its, its stupid moments. So I'll let this play out, especially since Chosen can finally be happy now. So yeah, fuck it. Uh, I was gonna go over this at the end, but I'll go over it now. Kwon dying, basically. Kwon's death, if you will. I have my positive and negative thoughts about this. I'll go with the positive first. Actually, I'll go with whatever I'm thinking. So the Kwon dying thing. When I first saw it, I'm over here yelling at my TV like, "What the fuck, man?" Because one because I like Kwon, and I would have liked to have seen more from Kwon. And at the same time, I'm just thinking to myself, like, Cobra Kai literally has no other ideas left, so they have to resort to death now. But having a more clear mind, again, after watching the part earlier today, I can definitely say that death is something that hasn't typically been, well, it has been explored in the second season when Tommy died. When Tommy died. So deaths has definitely have been explored, but one thing I will say is that death has never really been explored before in, like, with one of the students, in the Cobra Kai show. And I thought to myself for a bit, man, this is pretty interesting. And it leaves off, honestly, a pretty great cliffhanger for what's going to happen, later down the line. So are they gonna cancel the tournament? Which I don't really think that they are, but it creates some questions. Like, are they gonna cancel the tournament? Are they gonna keep the tournament going? How are Kwon's students, or how are they gonna react to this? How is Kreese? How is Terry? Because I think Kreese is just gonna stand there like, oh, well, shit happens in war, man. So like, I feel like Kreese is just gonna stand there like an old PTSD veteran and just, oh, well, there's nothing new to me. War happens out in the field. He's not gonna give a shit about a kid actually dying, but. But yeah, I think this is an interesting thing. And at first, I thought this was a desperate attempt by Cobra Kai, but I kind of like that they laid this out, to be honest with you. And this being happening on the field of the Sekai Taikai, it makes it kind of makes the atmosphere of the tournament. It makes it feel more legit, and it makes it feel, I guess, more dangerous. And I can only imagine, like, the backlash that this is gonna have, for that tournament, for karate as a whole. Um. So yeah, man. A very interesting thing that they did, and again, at first I thought it was desperate, but now I'm kind of on board with it, thinking that it's kind of interesting. Um. But yeah, I'm kind of upset because if you think about it, it's pretty sad because Kwon was always he was kind of like a mini version of Kreese, really, where excuse me, hold on. So basically, Kwon dying, it's pretty sad if you think about it because he reminds me of a mini version of Kreese where he's always trying to manipulate stuff. Like, he was manipulating Robbie a bit, getting him angry, getting him depressed. Basically, like, right. So he, like, manipulating Robbie, turning him from, instead of being determined, to this depressed fighter. And honestly, I think that's a very interesting thing that they did. But it's really sad because Kwon, he'll never be at peace. He'll never get his own redemption arc. He won't be like the other kids. He'll just he ended off his life being this vengeful guy who was actually willing to hurt or possibly kill another fighter just to prove a point of how strong that he is and that he's the best. So a very interesting cliffhanger. Was it one of the best cliffhangers of Cobra Kai? For me, possibly not. I think Kreese getting arrested and Cobra Kai in season 4 cheating to win the tournament was more interesting. I think Miguel, breaking his back in season 2. I thought, Robbie kicking Miguel off the ledge. I thought that was much more interesting. And Johnny losing Cobra Kai. I thought Johnny teaching his kids the essence of Cobra Kai, but ultimately having them become bullies, which that wasn't his intention whatsoever. I thought that, so basically, I think like seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4, and even 5 too. I thought those were all more intriguing cliffhangers for me, but I can see what they're trying to do, and yeah. And let me look at the poster here. Hawk and Dimitri, I thought that was disappointing. The Devin storyline, I thought that was pretty disappointing too. I get that she's not, one of the strongest fighters there, but I hope that her, cheating, I thought that like something would have came from that, but ultimately nothing really did. And she ended up learning from the error of her ways, and it's a damn shame because at first I was honestly quite interested the fact that they had Devin advance over Kenny, and I thought that they could have done something well with her character, but they didn't really do shit with her character, and they just kind of skipped through all that just to get to the apology portion, and yeah. Why was Devin even sitting on the bench if she couldn't even compete, bro? Like, that just really made no sense to me. I feel like the biggest victim of the shitty writing for Cobra Kai so far, I'd say, is the Johnny Lawrence portion and even the Mr. Miyagi portion, man. I'm done. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet because I gotta leave and pick somebody up from their job right now. Somebody that I care about, but so I gotta go in a minute. So I'll keep this short and sweet as much as I possibly can. They have completely demeaned Johnny's character to the point where I just cannot listen to him anymore. I think the only time that Johnny made me laugh in throughout like the course of the season so far, outside of episode 1, I'd say was outside of part 1 for season 6. But the only time that Johnny's made me laugh in part 2, I think, was like in episode 3. And that was possibly the only episode where they showed any character development from Johnny Lawrence whatsoever. Johnny, he's not the most perfect individual. We've known this from season 1. But him arguing with Daniel, trying to fight Daniel, just it really, in my opinion, it demeans everything that he's worked up to, from the first 5 seasons of the show. Like, why? And then you got Johnny over here, like, bruh, he learned in season 1 the fact that there are no bad students, there's only bad senseis. So, why is this man over here, you gotta be aggressive? Nigga, don't they have to be balanced? Like, you got Sam over here making you sound like a fucking idiot. But no, like, bruh, like, so you got Johnny, be aggressive. Like, haven't we explored this storyline of, my way is the only way at the end of season 4? So why the hell are we going through this same song and dance again? Like, it's so fucking dumb, man. And then Johnny, about to fight Daniel at the end of at episode 10, on the beach. Like, haven't we been through this same song and dance throughout the entire part 2? And the end of, part 1 too. Like, haven't we been through the same song and dance of these two fighting each other? Who gives a fuck now? At the end of the series. Who cares? Like, bruh. Like, you got these two 50-year-old men like squaring up like they're fucking an old opponent getting ready to fight Jake Paul, and like, what are what are we doing? What are we doing, man? Huh. I'll I'll go deeper about this later. I really have to go because I don't want this specific person to be blowing up my phone saying why am I not on time picking them up. So in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is that this is the worst season of Cobra Kai so far, and the fact that this season feels shoehorned in. Not even shoehorned. This season feels like the writers they're not even trying anymore. Like this is just a cash grab at this point. So yeah, bro. So yeah. Fourth season, I'm not liking it. I really don't know what else to say. I have to go. So I'll probably make a part two to this if I have any more thoughts because I was planning on doing another rewatch for Cobra Kai. So yeah, peace.